Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are flying Virgin Atlantic's A330-900 Neo, it's a mouthful, in 3 different upper class seats. We are going to show you what it's like to arrive at the airport for a private check-in experience, go through the Virgin Atlantic Clubhouse, one of the coolest lounges in the world, and then we're going to show you what it's like to fly the Retreat Suite, one of the best ways that you can fly from the US to Europe. Then we're going to show you a window seat and a middle seat. We're going to show you what's similar and what is different, and ultimately give you the hands-on experience that you need should you fly Virgin Atlantic's upper class on the A330neo, so you can pick the right seat for you. Without further ado, let's pick it up in London. Now, if you are headed to London Heathrow from London itself, there's multiple ways you can get there. You can take the Tube, Heathrow Express, etc., etc. If you are taking a taxi or a car service in Uber, one, you're going to have an incredible drive out because you just get to see the city so wonderfully and spectacularly. But 2, when you're arriving to Terminal 3, which is where Virgin Atlantic flies out of, you're going to want to tell your driver to take the Virgin Atlantic upper class entrance. You can see right here, the gate is up. You're going to talk to them over the intercom. And what's so cool about it is that they will actually come out and greet you like you're at a hotel, help you with your bags in, take you inside. It's a swift, expedited check-in process. And then you go through a special security option that is seamless as well. You can also check in from the non-upper class entrance. When you do that, you just go in and you check in just like a normal person, and they take you up that special elevator. Once you're checked in, you're going to head straight to the clubhouse. Let's pick it up there. So as you can see, the Virgin Atlantic Lounge is just upstairs here. This over here is the American Lounge, and upstairs we're going to go to Virgin Atlantic, and we're going to take this elevator. So let's go do that. Hands down, one of the coolest lounges in the world is the Virgin Atlantic Clubhouse. As you can see, it has a 1960s aesthetic. The Peloton bikes are no more, but there's a full bar and the dining is spectacular. You can either go to the buffet or there's a full menu that you can order from that's accessible with just a QR code. The lounge has an exceptional vibe, and I would highly recommend heading upstairs to the outdoor viewing deck where you can watch planes taxiing and taking off and get some fresh air. All right, let's head to the gate. We're about to board Virgin Atlantic's A330-900 Neo and fly upper class 3 different ways. And if you're interested on where this plane flies, you can head over to Flight Connections and just look it up by the airline and the plane type. Super simple. Now, regardless of which seat you're sitting in, we're gonna go in depth into this. You're going to have the same menu, you're gonna have the same amenity kit, you're gonna have Wi-Fi access, and every single passenger gets pajamas. So in terms of the soft service, there isn't a big difference. Now, when we're looking at the Retreat Suites, these are the front 2 middle seats, and ordinarily they come with about a 200-pound surcharge. What you're really paying for here is just a ton of extra space. So everything in terms of the way that you control the seats, even that little cabinet there, is very much the same as the normal seats. However, look at the storage. I was able to put my massive MacBook Pro in there, closed. There's 2 of those huge containers, and my wife's seat had 2 similar size. Actually, I think one of them was slightly bigger. The doors feel higher because when you're in bed mode in this, which you'll see in a second, you actually go really low down to the ground. You're given a 27-inch TV. These remotes were absolutely useless. It's just better to use the touchscreen, in my opinion. And if we're looking at the bed mode, it's a 6'7" bed, and it is considerably wider. All right, let's head up to the front. In the bulkhead, seat 1K. This is from a different flight. I've flown this multiple times. Now, I wanted to see what this would be like in the bulkhead. Now, ordinarily, I would actually choose the second row because you're seated away from the aisle. As you can see here, this storage cabinet is exactly the same as we had in the Retreat Suite. There isn't any extra volume in that space, and it's perfect for storing a wallet and keeping it away from the aisle so it feels a little bit safer. That gets a thumbs up from me. Also, you have your own air vents, which is fantastic. One thing to keep in mind is if you're in the bulkhead, you actually have emergency equipment over your seat, so you need to store your bag across the aisle. One thing you'll notice is how big the armrest is. This is unique to the seats that sit off the aisle. There's also a large floor cubby big enough to slide a backpack into, as well as another shelf to store items in. I stored my amenity kit and my phone in it. Speaking of phones, there's also wireless charging, but I didn't find it to actually work that great. All right, we're about to take off. We're gonna head to the middle seats, do a tour of that as well as show you the difference between the ones that are close to the aisle and far away. And all seats other than the retreat suites are going to feature this smaller TV you can see here. And again, I found the remote to be completely useless. The touchscreen works great. Heading on to the middle seat. So my wife and I flew this from London to Atlanta. In fact, I think every single one of these flights is from London to Atlanta back when they were servicing the route with this A330neo. Everything is the same. The biggest difference in this, I think, that I found is that they feel a lot tighter than the window seats. As you can see, I was seated off of the aisle, which meant that I had a much smaller armrest as well. But it is nice if you're traveling with someone because you can share the experience together. If these seats do look familiar, you've seen them on SAS, you've seen them on Delta, as well as Qantas. They're Thomson Vantage XL seats. These seats are great if you know the person you're traveling with. However, you still have your own privacy because that large armrest separates the two seats, so it's not like you're right up on the person you're traveling with. I chose the one that was set off of the aisle, which meant that mine was far more private because I not only was set off the aisle, but I also had that large armrest next to me. Now let's sit down and take a look at the amenities that you're gonna have regardless of which seat that you're sitting in on Virgin Upper Class, as well as the dining experience in each of these different seats. The amenities are the same regardless of plane, so keep that in mind. So you're gonna get Wi-Fi. I just flew this a few days ago, and the Wi-Fi prices are around £21 for a flight pass. I was actually able to watch YouTube videos, be on Instagram, TikTok without any sort of problem, although it was a little bit intermittent in terms of its reliability, but I found it to be quite good. Every seat is also going to have an amenity kit. This is an older one, but all the stuff inside is the same, and the kit itself and all the packaging is made out of recycled materials, so it's environmentally conscious, which is a big thing for Virgin Atlantic. Now, we also get flight suits, which are basically just a fancy term for pajamas. If you're on a day flight, you're gonna have to request these. They will have them on board. If it's a night flight, they're gonna hand them out. But all three of these were day flights. Now, let's get into the dining experience so you can see what it is actually like when you're in the retreat suite versus in a personal seat like I had on the window. Now, this is a really cool thing because you got buddy seats. So it's not just like you're sitting next to someone dining. It is very comfortable, and the buddy seat is quite wide, easily sitting another person. This is what I found to be great, and why I would probably sit in the same bulkhead again if I was traveling alone. I could easily eat with the tray table extended. The food was very good, but look at how I can easily just sit there and do work on my laptop, make use of that fast internet, and not have to squeeze things around or worry about spilling onto my laptop. So I found that to be very good. Compare that to the middle seat. Now, my wife was actually sleeping, so I put the divider up. This seat just feels a lot tighter. And despite the food being good and having the same sort of armrest, I didn't really feel like I had the room to do the work that I did in 1K. So keep that in mind if you're traveling on your own, or if you're traveling with someone and you need to get work done during the flight. If that's not of concern, it is really nice to fly right next to your companion so you can enjoy it together. Let's go to the bed mode. Bed mode in the retreat suites is fantastic. Look at the size. The one thing I would say, it is very, very low. You can see this from the angle that I'm looking up, but all of your seating controls, they have a second option for you down by the bed. So they have the one that's up top by my drink, and then they have one that's actually down by the bed. You can also easily access all of your charging cables. Let's compare this now to 1K, which is also right on the aisle. So all the bedding is the same. It's not like you're getting better bedding when you're in the retreat suite than you are if you're just in any other seat. It's basically the same. Now, when you look at this, they got a nice mattress topper. They give you a nice duvet, and I thought that the shoulder width there was pretty good, and that little compartment that I had mentioned before was so easy to access. And I found the door to be a good height to keep things very private. Another thing that's really nice is that your charging ports are right by your head, so you can easily plug things in and be using them while you're down in bed mode. Very, very easy and really well designed, I would say. And again, I can just slide it right into that same compartment. Another thing that I liked was it's a pretty decent angle because the TV itself pivots. So a lot of the TVs in these business classes, they aren't going to pivot, and it's just a really hard angle to watch from. But this one actually had a little bit of a tilt, and so that worked great. I found this bed, I found the entire experience in 1K to be fantastic. I would fly that in a heartbeat. Let's compare that to the middle seat bed experience. And it's definitely beneficial to pick the seats that are set off of the aisle. That's going to give you more privacy for when you're sleeping and working. However, you don't have quite the same workspace as you do when you're on the seats that are closer to the aisle. If you're in any seat other than the retreat suite, you have a 6'4" bed. So it's a little bit tight for me at 6 feet because my feet are extended, so my head is a little bit closer. And of course, we're gonna give you one more meal service before you land, regardless of which seat that you're in. Sometimes it's even sky-high afternoon tea, which is super fun, but it's usually a lighter snack or a sandwich or high tea or something like that. But to recap, the retreat suite's about an extra 200 pounds, voluminous amounts of room, lots of storage, and it's a cool eating and dining experience. And then if you're choosing another seat, if you're on the aisle, you're gonna have a bigger armrest and workspace versus if you're off the aisle, you're gonna have a little bit more privacy. Let me know down below in the comment section what you think, and of course, please like, subscribe, and stick around while we show you how you can book these for very cheap prices. A few quick tips and tricks to help you book Virgin Atlantic upper class flights in general. So Virgin Atlantic is a transfer partner of American Express, Bilt, Capital One, Citi, and Chase. So if you are earning those points, you're gonna be able to transfer into Virgin Atlantic. So these points are very easy to populate. In terms of finding award space, Virgin has made it very, very simple. You're just gonna go up here to menu, you're gonna click on Flying Club, and you're gonna go over here to Reward Seat Checker. So on Reward Seat Checker, you can just say, oh, you're gonna be flying from, let's say London, and let's just say New York, because there's a lot of flights to New York. And let's just make it easy and put ourselves into November. And you can see every single date, what it costs to fly in economy, premium economy, and upper class. And since this is starting to get into the winter, you're gonna find some really good deals. So it could be $150,000, but it could also be $36,000, $29,000. I mean, these are unbelievable deals, right? If we were to click on, say, Tuesday the 18th, you'd see that 6, 10, 5, and 29, but you can't book on this page. You have to go down here to find my reward seat. So let's remember, November, Tuesday the 18th, but we don't know which plane this is, right? So we just know that's gonna be $29,000. And remember, taxes and fees are always a lot more expensive when you're leaving London than if you're going to London. So we can look and we can say, let's just do this one way. And what was that, November 18th? So we could say November 18th is a Tuesday. Let's see what planes are flying on Tuesday. Remember, you could have checked Flight Connections that would tell you when the A330-900neo is flying and where it's flying to, and the A350-1000, which is their second best. And then the worst is obviously going to be the old A330s and the 787s. So we can see here, oh, you got 58,000, 45,000, 29,000. So what plane is on the 29,000? A350-1000. Not too bad, really. We can look here at 787-9, you'd want to avoid that. That's the old coffin class. A350-1000 again here. My guess is that this flight, VS-153, it's a little bit more expensive, and it is on their best plane. So sometimes you see this priced quite high, but not always. I've been able to fly it for as little as 29,000 points, like this bad boy right here. This is how I go about searching. I hope it's helpful to you. It makes it super simple, super straightforward, and of course, you can transfer any of the points that you have that are transferable are going to be able to populate into your Virgin account. I hope that this was helpful. If it was, please drop a comment below. Please like, subscribe. We really appreciate it. God bless you. Have a fantastic day.